Hi there, my name is Kay Moon and I am a Western astrologer and twin flame channel. And this is a video about the Aquarius full moon taking place on August 19th at 2:25 p.m. for all signs. I'm excited to be back to do another all signs with you. If you have been moving through this Mercury retrograde that ends on the 28th and it's brought up some tension, unexpected news, you can certainly book a reading with me over at Moon Astro. Link is down below this video. And we can talk through it via the blueprint of your chart so that you have direct guidance from where it is you're meant to be moving in this lifetime. This full moon takes place here at the 27th degree of Aquarius and has an opposition to the Mercury retrograde, a square from Uranus. And this constitutes what we as astrologers call a T-square, and it brings in an extraordinary amount of tension in the third dimension between where we are and where we want to be, how it is, and what we need things to be. There's an extraordinary amount of fixed and mutable placements. The modes here are the way we respond to life. And this will cause us this will create a strong potential for us to want to bend and flex so that we do not have to confront change and instead can hold on to the way things have been. However, as I have been talking about extensively with my Star Club members, even the mountains move, coastlines change, borders to countries shift over time. So it's important to remember that if all of these things can change, so too can you. You're not stuck, and that the changes unfolding at this time are really happening for our benefit, even if it doesn't initially look like that. The Mercury retrograde will meet up for a second time here with Uranus on its way to meet up with a second time here with Chiron at this full moon. This can bring up an extraordinary amount of sensitivity, open up old woundings through surprising insights, communication, revelations that you didn't see coming. As a result of this, it will be important to not create foregone conclusions. Keep lines of communication open. Get support where you need to from qualified professionals, i.e., a therapist, if that's what you need, or financial guidance from a financial advisor, if that's what you need, in order to create clarity that can help you get to where you truly want to be on the other side of this Mercury retrograde. Things that conclude at this Mercury retrograde, because there does seem to be some ending energy in the air, don't seem to stay concluded because of the way this Mercury retrograde will be impacting and influencing conversations that will be dynamic and fluid through September 11th when Mercury completes its shadow. So have some space for unexpected communication, insights, challenges with scheduling or travel. And for a small few, this may include some mental or physical health issues that seem to come out of nowhere and just implode your status quo. We do see a trine here to Jupiter and Mars there in Gemini for this full moon. This will create a sense of urgency within all of us to get on with the changes that we know we need to make, whether that be in work, in school, at home, family, love life, or career. We'll also see a semi-sextile to Pluto here, which does amplify this sense of I've got to get on with putting a period on this sentence or closing out this thing so that I can move forward with doing the next thing. Take your time. This is definitely an opportunity for completion and closure, as full moons do portend these opportunities, and simultaneously, um, rushing through a completion at this time may only cause the thing to drag out much further once we get through the other side of this Mercury retrograde. Take the necessary steps, dot your I's, cross your T's, and if any outbursts seem to show up in communication at this time, know that these are just the conversation starter to assist you with moving toward the thing that you really want in your connections, whether you're the one with the outburst or somebody else is. The conversation opener needed to happen, even if it was a little messy. Try to give yourself and others a bit of grace. This will be what allows you to understand the deeper meaning behind the communication so that everyone can have an opportunity to get their needs met at the table. Okay. For those of you that have been struggling for several lunations now, I do want to offer this bit of reassurance. There was a period of hyper manifestation back in the spring of this year and in the spring of 2023. The unfoldments happening now, if you can have some faith that these things are what need to happen in order for you to get to the manifestation and the desires of your heart, even if it doesn't look like it, that faith will go a long way in helping you centralize opportunities for win-win-win solutions if you can think creatively and give this time. Let's get into what this energy looks like for each of the signs. And if you're already hearing something that resonates, I encourage you to hit that like button for the algorithm. It absolutely helps circulate the content to new subscribers who would be ready to join this tribe and need this guidance at this time. Aries, for you, this full moon is taking place in a part of the sky that is the late sector of your friendships, hopes, wishes, dreams, and your colleagues. Now, this may allow you to see the death or the ending of a dream, the completion of a long held goal, the fulfillment of a wish. It may also be the end of a chapter when it comes to a friendship or friendships in general. For example, if you felt particularly friendless, this may be when a new friend comes in. And if you've had some real challenges with a particular friend, this may be where you and they decide you're growing in different directions and it's time to release the friendship. You could also see the departure of a colleague or yourself be departing from a job. You may feel guided to rush or push this closure to create a sense of stability in your self-worth, self-esteem, and self-value, with Uranus square this full moon from the sector having to do with these themes, or Jupiter and Mars trying this full moon from the sector having to do with consciousness and communication. This full moon looks like it may make you feel like, look, if I can just put a period on this sentence, I can get on with my life. But I want to support you to know, with the Mercury retrograde opposite this full moon, there's a great chance that anything completed may have a reprise and pop up again in September. So be mindful of taking hasty action to complete things just because murkiness, inconclusivity, and the unknown are uncomfortable. Anything that organically completes now may also resurface in September. Where it comes to love, Aries, with the ruler of your love sector in her home sign, and that's Juno here, and Venus on her way to join in just a couple weeks' time. That's Venus here in Virgo. As this closer we get to the solar eclipse in your love sector on October 2nd, there may be a sense of people from your past gearing up for re-entrance in your love life. You may even have already received communication from this person or people. Again, it's going to be critical to see this person through new eyes and be a new person yourself if you want this person or you want things to work out in a different way than they have in your past. It's very easy to make the mistake of thinking it'll only work if the other person changes. However, there were always two of you on the dance floor. So both of you need to have made some sort of shift for things to not land where they previously landed if you're looking for a second chance. If you're already clear you're not in love and you don't want it, or you're in a committed or established bond elsewhere, through these outreaches that you may find through social media or bump-ins that you may have while you're out in the world, you're going to find a lot of confirmation in the interactions that you've made the correct choice to move forward in your life without this person as these communications resurface. There will be more to come on this in the next several lunations, Aries, so stay curious, stay in communication, and stay tuned. If you need some support understanding where you're meant to go, definitely check out a reading with me at kmoonastro.com. The link is below this video. Let's move on now. We're going to take a look at Taurus at this new moon, or full moon, I should say. Welcome, Taurus, to this Aquarius full moon. For you, Taurus, this full moon is going to take place in a part of the sky that has to do with your career. This is going to see a completion of a project or chapter in your career that's meant to launch you into the next level of your work here on Earth. Now, you may feel like it comes suddenly, and for others, it may have been a long time coming. But as the closer we get to this full moon, things may be moving quite quickly. There's massive changes on the career front for Taurus as well because of the movement of Pluto here back into the sign preceding the career sector. That's Capricorn from September 11th through November 19th, which will impact all Earth signs significantly, but for Taurus in the career sector especially. This is a period of double checking. Do you want to make a change? Now is the time. It's also a time for releasing old belief systems and ways of using your potential that have not served you, i.e., playing small, being undecided, or double-minded. This could come with a bit of crisis and even latent grief as it calls for a departure from messages you may have received about who you are from your family, culture, or religious beliefs that you were brought up with, but now stand in the way of you creating the career you want. We see that shown here with the Mercury retrograde opposite the career sector, down here in the family sector, pulling in some pensiveness and some review when it comes to thoughts that you were given that may not be your own about who you are and what's possible for you. Taurus, take your time. Call your shot. Focus on the steps in front of you, or the immediate step, I should say. Don't worry about any other ones, and you'll be using this energy wisely. Taurus, where it comes to love at this full moon, the modern day ruler of your love sector, Pluto, here, is undergoing significant changes as it prepares to move back into the sign of Capricorn, where it was for the last 14 years. And it's receiving an activation here from Uranus and Neptune, elevating deeper spiritual perspectives this year. The entire way you've done love is going to be and already has been transforming, from your thoughts about love and relationship, your beliefs, your desires and attractions, the quality of your relationships and relating with people, to the very people you are attracted to. By the time we get to spring of next year, You may have some very different feelings about where you are in love, where you're headed in love, and what you want in love for the better. If things feel tumultuous now, know that the changes that are being made are meant to elevate you. It's about releasing attachment to the way things have always been so that you have the opportunity to move to the way things can be and really take advantage of your full potential in love. The ancient ruler of your love department, Mars, is located in a sector of the sky that has to do with your earned income, your self worth, and your self esteem at this full moon, and is also connected with Jupiter. This is likely to bring some newfound confidence that you may feel inspired and may have you feeling inspired to explore new opportunities in love at this full moon. This can have you do things you've never done or do things with someone you'd never previously considered. Because both are in Gemini, this could mean you're dealing with more than one person. And for those of you looking for love, and for those of you in an established bond, this could have you initiating some new conversations and adventures with your loved one or prospective loved one. So definitely take those risks, Gemini or Taurus. If you need any support at this time, Taurus, you can find me over at kmoonastro.com and we can have a conversation based on the blueprint of your life and where you are meant to be going from here. Link is below this video to book. Aquarius full moon for Gemini. Gemini, this full moon is taking place in a sector of the sky that has to do with long distance travel, your raw potential, faith, higher education or continuing education, and your belief systems. This will create some illumination about how you can expand your horizons, both which doors are open and which are closed as we move toward the end of the year. Because of the Uranian impact on this particular full moon, as well as Jupiter and Mars here, travel, educational plans could go awry very abruptly. So it's going to be important to double check your travel plans, double check your itineraries, make sure that you are receiving email and text message updates for all things related to these categories. And if you can, when you're traveling, definitely purchase that travel insurance and make sure you're double checking class registrations if you're in school, especially between now and early September, given the Mercury retrograde impacting your axis of education and communication. For those involved in religious organizations, you may find that there are changes within the leadership structure or direction or messaging in that organization at this full moon. And for a small few, this could be a change in belief systems or religions itself, or exposure of private or sensitive information, or some subconscious revelations that come to the surface and get exposed at this time. Lots of things behind the scenes becoming seen for you at this full moon, Gemini. Gemini, where it comes to love, with Mars joining the ruler of your love sector in the section of the sky that has to do with your identity here. That would be Jupiter and Mars conjunct. And a square from Venus down here in the sector of the sky that has to do with family and home. You may be feeling very passionate and inspired as you may have done some work that improves not only your confidence, but also allows you to feel quite at home with making yourself more seen and visible in the world. For those of you looking for new love, you may find it through your classes, travel, or faith-based organizations. And for those of you in an established bond, experiences together through classes, travel, or faith-based organizations can enhance your intimacy at this time. You, Gemini may need to be the initiator, but overall it does seem to go quite well. Now, because your ruling planet is retrograde at this time, you may find that you feel a bit more reflective or pensive. The main thing is to not let yourself overthink it and take a chance when you're inspired. There may be some level of reversal or withdrawal in communication for those who are dating, and some who need to revisit older conversations with the Mercury retrograde for those in something established. It does seem like conversations resume stability after a period of depth or perhaps even an outburst or two that requires multiple conversations to get to the root of the matter. Don't be shy, Gemini. Dive in. Your curiosity and inquisitive nature will be sure to help any bond go deeper by just simply being present and asking the right questions and being willing to hear the other person's true answers. Gemini, if you need any support, you can definitely check in with me over at kmoonastro.com. Link is below this video. We can do a reading and look at the Mercury retrograde and end of the year for your chart. 30 minutes is all you need. Let's have a look at Cancer here and this full moon for the sign of Cancer. For you, it takes place in a location in the sky that has to do with your secrets, your physical intimacy, and what we call other people's money. This includes grants, loans, credit, debt, taxes, and inheritances. As such, this full moon could bring up some surprises and unexpected news with regard to these matters, Cancer. It could also expose information you would have preferred stayed private in a more general way. Because of the Mercury retrograde opposite this full moon, for some of you, this may bring up some repressed or hidden memories so that you have the chance to heal them. For a small few of you, there does seem to be a road to resolution around a financial matter that may have troubled you for some time, but I'll be honest, the pathway does look complex and it also looks multi-stepped. Whatever seems to come up, it does come up for some level of healing, release, and resolution, even if it comes up as a bit of a surprise or shock initially. Take the healing where you can, Cancer. Whatever this is that shows up at this full moon, it's for your elevation, even if it feels complicated or challenging at first. Where it comes to love, Cancer, this full moon sees you experiencing a conclusion of a cycle in relationship. Whether it's the end of a pattern, it could be financially in particular, like getting rid of joint debt or a financial tie to an ex that has held you back, this kind of thing, or the conclusion of a subconscious block that has held you back from the kind of physical intimacy you'd like to experience. Now, for a small few of you, if there's been a situationship that's been more physical than anything else, this is where you may see that abruptly end. For those of you in a committed connection, however, there does seem to be the continuation of working through a long-standing issue you may have been working through when it comes to travel, education, or conflicting belief systems, as the ruler of your romance sector is here in the sector that deals with themes of that nature. This does seem to be a period in which you do make progress, but it does seem to be due to a breakthrough one or both of you has about the root of the issue that gets realized unexpectedly in communication or through double checking documentation and seeing something you may have missed before. In all cases, this is the kind of full moon where, as much as you can, Cancer, you may want to keep the lines of communication open and stay curious as new information arises through the end of August into September with the Mercury retrograde. And Cancer, if you need any support, find me at kmoonastro.com. Link is below this video. A 30-minute reading can help illuminate your path forward. let's take a look at this full moon for the sign of Leo. Leo, this full moon happens in your romance, relationship, and commitment sector. And of all the signs, you're the most likely to experience some form of surprise in the romance sector. It does look like it's potentially some form of communication or confession that could come from someone you've worked with about romantic feelings. And for some, it could be the dissolution or complete restructuring of a business partnership. This full moon could even be you suddenly revealing new feelings to someone about a work relationship or at work, or to your partner about changes unfolding on the work front. There is some level of unpredictability with the communication about love or work, where there is significant potential here, Leo, for misunderstanding, especially if this is related to work in any way. As best as you can, this is a great full moon to take it slow. Plan to have several conversations about the issue at hand, not just one. And know that if what shows up comes as an outburst, this is the invitation to talk more rather than a complete closeout, since we're in the middle of a Mercury retrograde. You may even be the one that needs to come back and correct your words or apologize with Mercury retrograde in your home sign and connected with the sun in Leo at this time. For those of you in committed connections, this may bring some level of work interfering or shifting things in your relationship. It could be as simple as leaving a job and that changing your financial situation and needing to talk things through with your partner, or getting a promotion. That comes with some uncertainty, delays, or mixed messages that could cause stress in your love life. The key will be keeping the lines of communication open and keeping your cool as you work through it. Now, where it comes to other areas of life, Leo, and your career sector, there does seem to be some exploration about how to increase your income at this time, with Jupiter here in the house of hopes, wishes, and dreams, and a square to Venus here in the sector that deals with earned income and spent money. There is some potential for overspending here. I want to warn you about that, because as soon as Mercury goes direct, what it is you purchase at this particular full moon may somehow lose its luster or be other than what you expected. I would even steer clear of significant technological purchases at this full moon or investments, and just stay focused on evening out your cash flow, money spent, money earned, and leveraging opportunities for earning more. Okay. The you may have a sense of deep determination with that Mars Jupiter conjunction to see what you can do to increase your income, whether you work for someone else or you work for yourself. The Saturn opposition to that Venus over here could also have you creating some perspective or rethinking your financial obligations, like consolidating debt and feeling quite a bit of pressure to figure out how to make the money you need in order to both pay off debt and live the life you want. This is definitely not the time for a splurge, although I can see based on the planets, you may really feel inclined to do so. With this configuration creating a T-square, you may find it extremely helpful to lean into the Sagittarius energy here, which is all about truth governing your creative sector, and optimism. This will be about using your creativity with gusto to find the most direct and straightforward solution to any money challenges that have shown themselves at this time. Now, for some, this may be returning to an old side hustle that made you money in the past. For others, this may mean resurrecting a side hustle idea that you never acted on, but now it might be the time where you jump in the game. It may be a short-term gig, a bridge job that you need to take on during this rocky end of year period that begins now, but that may be exactly what you need as a stepping stone before your next big promotion, big launch in your business, or new job. Wishing you the best with this, Leo. If you keep your nose to the grindstone, next year looks significantly smoother. And if you need any support with this, definitely find me over at kmoonastro.com and we can have a conversation about this through the lens of your personal blueprint, your natal chart, where you're meant to go. 30-minute reading would be all you really need in order to move through how to work this Mercury retrograde to your advantage. Virgo, Virgo rising and Virgo moon. This full moon takes place in a location of the sky that has to do with your physical health and well being, as well as your day to day activities. You may find there's some form of shakeup that occurs with your routines at this full moon, and it adds a bit of extra responsibility to your plate. Now, for some, this could be slightly inconvenient, like the closing of your gym, retirement of your doctor, or closure of your grocery store, things that force you to go out of your way in order to get your needs met. But for others, this could be something much bigger, like a boss or direct report leaving your company and you needing to take on some of their work before a replacement is found. In these situations, though, it does look like a promotion is in store for you with Jupiter and Mars creating expansion and ambition in the sector that deals with fame and honors. And with a solar eclipse on the way in the area that governs earned income over here, uh, anytime between now and October 2nd or the 60 days following are a great time to either raise your fees or rates if you work for yourself or ask for a raise at your job if you work for someone else and are taking on additional responsibilities. Even whatever the changes are at this time, even if they seem to come out of nowhere, I want to be very clear with you, Virgo. You can use this as an opportunity to elevate your status career wise and financially if you're willing to take the necessary actions and have the necessary conversations to make it so. A little creativity and a lot of ambition are going to go a long way in this energy for you, Virgo. And if you need any help sorting through that, you can always book with me over at kmoonastro.com. Link below in the description box will take you to where you can book a 30-minute reading and we can talk it through. Now, where it comes to love, Virgo, you may feel like things are a bit on pause in this area as you work through some of the challenges on the work front. We have the ancient ruler of your romance sector in the career house. We also have Saturn, which demands integrity and wholeness, moving through the romance sector as well, and forcing a lot of growth and maturity to unfold. And if people cannot be on your level, it will be very difficult for them to enter at this time. We also see the modern ruler closing out a chapter here in its home sign, and that's Neptune, preparing to move into a new sign that deals specifically with ambition, and that's Aries. Now, because this is so work focused, this could bring about some challenges for those of you both in a committed relationship and for those of you looking for love. At this full moon, it does look like you may need to make some choices, and for some, it may even feel like life has chosen for you to prioritize getting things settled at work and on the work front before you're going to be able to get things settled with your heart. Those looking for love are even likely to find it at work, given the way that the ancient ruler of your love sector has been moving through your career sector this year. And those in a committed bond may find that this is a period of laying down a lot of foundation, potentially even with a resetting of certain boundaries between you to stabilize the commitment and take it to the next level as an established bond in the eyes of the world and your family and friends. The Mercury retrograde's movement sextiling the ancient ruler of your love sector. Back annotation tool. Potentially, what this can bring about this month could mean that there are some deeper conversations that you and your partner may need to have about time and the usage of time and priorities that may have been taken for granted in the way you spend time together, who does which things around the house or for the relationship. It's a great time for conversations about which responsibilities you can share if you're in a committed bonds and which ones you might need to outsource so that you don't have to fight or argue over them, and which ones you may take for granted as the other person's responsibility so that things can run smoother between the two of you and no one feels overburdened. Again, there's an element here about needing to discuss assumptions. For some Virgos, assumptions that go as far back as childhood about work, home, relationship, and responsibilities so that each person feels honored and like their needs are getting met in connection. And for those of you who are single and looking, having this talk with yourself can help make room for the love that you want that can last. Okay, let's move on to Libra. Libra, this full moon, let me find the chart I set up for you, Libra. There we go. Libra, this full moon for you is taking place in a part of the sky that has to do with children and your creative works and projects. The closure at this full moon for some may be the abrupt ending to summer and just getting ready to go back to school in the northern hemisphere. But more generally, there does seem to be the completion of a project, a side hustle, or process you may have been in the middle of rather than at the completion of, and this conclusion can come a little abruptly. For some of you, this may mean a bit of job uncertainty, as it does look like some Libras will be released from a job at this time. But if this is you, it does look like you may have received some form of communication about it. It doesn't look like it comes out of nowhere. As Mercury retrograde in the sector of the sky that specifically deals with the potential and the direction of things would have already provided a meetup with Uranus here and given you the potential for a heads up that this job may be completing. And it may have come intuitively. I do see that here. May have been an intuitive hit, but if it wasn't, it definitely looks like a conversation may have unfolded. Things may have seemed uncertain as we move through this Mercury retrograde. As this whole process, I got to be honest, it doesn't look very clean. So things may have seemed uncertain only to look certain and then seem uncertain again. Since there's a solar eclipse in your sign about 6 weeks away, we're already under the influence of that energy, the solar eclipse new beginning in your own sign. My strong counsel is to take any release of a job that happens at this time as giving you extra runway for a new beginning to come sometime between now and November 2nd, a month after that eclipse. Also, if you've had it in mind to start a business, the tension coming up at this full moon will bring up the choices you need to make to have grounded, realistic, pragmatic starts to that business. Trimming and redoing the plan so that it's feasible will help you stay on budget and on schedule and build things up step by step. If you need any support understanding how to work with this energy from the blueprint of your life, your natal chart, then definitely book a reading over at kingandastro.com. 30 minutes would be enough just to talk through this full moon and your work options. Now, Libra, where it comes to love, this full moon may see you feeling confident and bold and attracting attention from people with whom you have a teaching or learning relationship with, given the way the ruler of your love sector, Mars, is in your educational sector. You may even find someone while traveling, walking, or during a day off if your green light is on and your energy is open to being approached. Likewise, for those of you who are affiliated with religious organizations, this is a great time to meet or approach someone from these realms as well. What's interesting is that anyone you connect with now does seem to potentially be someone you had some connection with in the past, and this presents as a second chance in the Mercury retrograde energy, since this ninth position from Libra deals with second marriages and is the sign Gemini, which is governed by this Mercury retrograde, which is happening out here in the house of wish fulfillment. This is a bit of a let's go back around and see if things can work out better the second or third time. For those in a committed bond, day trips, longer trip planning and discussions, adventures in learning together can help deepen and strengthen your bond as well as bring up some unknown things about each other's hopes, wishes, and dreams, giving you the opportunity to see each other and know each other in brand new ways. The learning you'll do about one another and with one another at this lunation can be both surprising and illuminating. It does look like you may learn or share a secret or two that was previously unknown at this time with your loved one. So if anything shocking or disconcerting comes up, the key will be to use the Mercury retrograde to talk it through. Decide what you want it to mean together before placing judgment on what gets revealed separately or drawing conclusions by yourself. One of my favorite questions is, how do you want me to take what you just said? What do you want me to take away or know about you? That question can go a long way in relationship if revelations of a shocking nature reveal themselves now. Libra. Okay, Scorpio. For you, this full moon takes place in a part of your chart that deals with your home and your family of origin. So here is the full moon. Here, there could be some tension around where you live that instigates consideration of a relocation, selling of a property, or moving out. Now, this could be as simple as your leasing agreement completing and deciding whether or not you'd like to resign, or tension with those you live with that causes you to feel inclined to move. For some, a small few of you who may be in a relationship and living under the same roof with another person, with Uranus forming a T-square with this full moon at this time, from the relationship sector and the Sun and Mercury retrograde in the career sector, you may find that the tension could be about bring about living separately. And if this isn't about a separation in totality itself, it could just be about maybe it's best if we don't live together since we have such different relationships to work or how we would like to live. Okay. Now, for others, this could have to do with your family of origin and changes you're making in your relationship with them. It will be a great idea to give yourself the chance to think through your options throughout the Mercury retrograde. And if you can, forgo major decisions until after the Mercury retrograde on the 28th of August. And for those of you with the luxury to wait until Mercury completes its shadow period on September 11th. I say wait before making major decisions because Mercury is going to meet with Uranus one last time. It's already done so twice, once at the tail end of July, once now, and again in early September before the Mercury retrograde completes. So, because of that, surprising revelations, conversations, and communications can unfold that may help you work through the challenges before major decisions are made. Okay. Now, if you need any support understanding what to do and how to situate yourself on the home front regarding changes that have come up, you can always book a reading with me over at kmoonastro.com. Link is below this video. We can talk it through, and a 30-minute reading would be all you need to talk through this full moon. Now, Scorpio, where it comes to love, the ruler of your love sector, Venus, here is moving through your friendship and hopes, wishes, and dreams department. This may be where a latent desire to take things further with a friend becomes a strong possibility or consideration. Even still, it does look as if you may think through this thoroughly before making any moves. For those of you in a committed relationship, you may feel like this is a time where you and your partner deeply consider where you'd like to go next together. Not only what are your individual hopes, wishes, and dreams, and of course, how you can support one another, but also what are your joint hopes, wishes, and dreams, and how can you make a plan to create a path forward. Now, for some of you, this may be more of a subtle internal shift that you're experiencing, where you're motivated to make changes that allow your relationship life to be more fulfilling, as Juno, the ancient ruler, has now just arrived inside of the house or the sign, the position in the sky that deals with your subconscious mind. At this time, you may have some revelations that may accelerate the closer we get to the solar eclipse on October 2nd about what you need and what you want when it comes to love, as well as what has held you back from having it before now and who you need to become in order to have it. Now, for a small few of you, this may be where you realize there is a workplace love that you're ready to act on. But for the rest, this does seem to bring about a chance to steer your life in a new direction that's deeply fulfilling to you, heart, mind, body, and spirit, Scorpio. Take your considerations seriously. Definitely think about it, but don't overthink. That Mars Jupiter communication with Venus, the governor of your love sector, Scorpio, does seem to be indicative of a need to take action at this time rather than only live in thought. Even if the action is slightly, maybe a little bit messy, expect that others around you will have some grace, and you may even need to ask for some grace as you work through what could be a potentially new beginning in love. Sagittarius, Sag rising and Sag moon. This full moon takes place for you in a sector of the sky that deals with your communication, siblings, cousins, and neighbors. You, more than the other signs, have the potential for misunderstandings in communication at this time, especially those in some sort of partnership, business, or romantic. There does seem to be some level of the message sent not matching the message received here, as well as the potential for withholding pertinent information that has a strong potential to come out in unexpected ways through the Mercury retrograde as Mercury connects with the revelation bringer Uranus. Here's Uranus, here's Mercury. Mercury is the governor of your romance and love sector, business partnership sector. These two are going to meet 3 times. This full moon marks the second of 3 meetups, and it does look like the information withheld at this time definitely comes out the closer we get to September 11th, the final meetup between the two after Mercury goes direct. This also means that any challenges in communication that show themselves throughout this period can be worked through with consistent opportunities to talk through things step by step. Where you've been holding on to some structure that you valued because of what it has done for your self-esteem, how it made you feel to have it, This is where, if that structure has been toxic for you, the process of letting it go begins with Fullest and Ceres conjunct in that sector that deals with your self-worth, self-esteem, and earned income. This will be especially true if both the toxic structure and communication challenges are both work related. However, the next time there seems to be support for finding a new job shows itself maybe right around the corner as we get to the Libra solar eclipse in the house of your hopes, wishes, and dreams sector. The closer we get to October 2nd and through the post eclipse 60-day period, that seems to be the moment for a new job or a new career, Sagittarius, if this is something that you have been looking for. And if you need some support, understanding your purpose, direction, definitely book with me over at kmoonastro.com. Link is below this video, and we can talk it through. A 30-minute might be all you need. But Sagittarius, when it comes to love, the governor of your romance sector, Mercury, in retrograde motion, in the sign that deals with sovereignty, self-honoring, and creative authority, you may find that you're reviewing some of your belief systems where it comes to love and be in a process of discovery about where your needs conflict with your beliefs about the way relationships should be, so that you can reconcile the rift and receive the love you really desire. A great example is, there's a couple that I'm familiar with who he had a great need to be creative. She had a great need to be supportive. His belief, or to be supported and taken care of. She wanted a more traditional relationship where she took care of the kids and the man was the breadwinner. Because his creative soul, for him, that need wasn't honored by himself and his belief systems, which were that he was supposed to be the breadwinner, he was supposed to be the provider, created a lot of conflict in their relationship because he tried to be something he wasn't. This conflict in beliefs and needs around what I should be versus what I need is what can really show itself at this full moon, Sagittarius. Okay. Further, some of you, not all, but a few, may find that there is some triangulation unfolding in your love life during this Mercury retrograde. Now, this can include not only full-on love triangles, that's kind of the traditional meaning. However, this could also include conversation and communication about your relationship with people who are not directly involved in it. Where you can, the counsel here is to talk directly to your partner about your relationship rather than involving others and seeking validation and approval from those who are not in the relationship itself. The only other people I would recommend communication with, given this ninth position placement of the Mercury retrograde, would be some sort of therapist or coach who can help you unpack challenges that have shown up in the relationship at this time. Friends are not necessarily indicated as your best counsel during the Mercury retrograde. Lastly, Sagittarius, some of you under the influence of this energy may find that this is where you have a second chance in love with a past love or ex. It's likely to come out of nowhere. And if it's not a second chance, it could be a communication from them that arrives as a surprise. It doesn't seem like it comes with a lot of clarity, and there could be some mixed messages in the midst. Using the full Mercury retrograde period to gain clarity through key conversations will help you know which steps to take if rekindling something is a desire of your heart. Again, if you need some help and support with that, you can always book with me at kmoonastro, and I can talk you through it based on your chart and what it's saying is going to be best for you. Okay. Capricorn, Cap rising and Cap moon. This full moon takes place in a part of the sky that has to do with your finances, money you spend and money you earn specifically. This sector is also linked to your self worth and self esteem. This full moon could see the completion of a financial arrangement, way of making money, or spending habit that hasn't been working for you in a long time. Now, for some, this could be the rearrangement of a cash split in a business deal as well, or rearrangement of some level of spending. There may also be a level of creative change that brings this about with Uranus square this full moon from your creative sector, or a change having to do with children because you need to provide for them. This could be as simple as releasing a job so you can spend more time with your kids, or cutting off their allowance because they're now old enough to work and own their own money. There does seem to be some tension, though, around whether this is about whatever this is that comes with a bit of needing to have multiple conversations over the course of the Mercury retrograde to get to a final place of clarity that works for everyone involved. Take your time, talk this through between now and the end of Mercury retrograde shadow period in September because of the Chironic influence. Now, here is Chiron in Aries at home, and the sector that deals with home and family. Because of Chiron's influence, there may be elements of an old family pattern or role you've played, such as being the black sheep or being the family healer or fixer, that you're going to be guided to release at this time so that you can step into greater financial abundance, time abundance, energy or health abundance for yourself. By putting older beliefs about yourself down, or being the hero or the thing that other people expected you to be, you'll be able to pick up new beliefs that really serve you at this time. And Capricorn, if you need some support understanding how to work this, you can always book with me over at kmoonastro.com. Link to do that is below this video. We can look at your natal chart and see what your personal next steps are. Where it comes to love, with the ruler of your love department, the moon here in opposition with this Mercury retrograde, you may find that this is where you're reviewing your thoughts about a love connection and its direction, and receiving a lot of insight and revelation about why you may be in the place that you're in love, and what you're going to need to do to take the next step. This is the type of full moon where the things revealed to you now cannot be unseen or unknown about your love life. So, whether you're in a committed bond or looking for new love, this is where some understanding by the time we complete this full moon that you've crossed a point of no return can come up, and that the only way you can move is forward from here. I'm going to be honest, there may be some elements of cleaning up past misunderstandings or communication that needs to happen between now and the end of November, with Pluto retrograding back and forth in your sign, Capricorn. But you will do this work with the understanding that it's setting you up for a more fulfilling pathway in love in the future, where your love life and financial life are tied together, either because you work with or are in love with someone you work with, but not in a romantic partnership with them. Or perhaps you and your partner live together and your finances are joint finances. This is where you may receive some revelation about what needs to shift professionally and financially to make the romantic relationship more viable and fulfilling in time. Going to be honest, there's a small few of you out here with whom you may find out of some level of love triangle or flirtation or communication that has been held secret in your connection. It does seem to show up at this time or get revealed at this time. If it does get revealed, there's an opportunity for healing and rectification by having the requisite communication about why is this happening? Where did it come from? What is it giving the person who's doing it? What need do they have that may not be getting met in the partnership, and how to work on getting that need met in new ways. Okay. It may not be a need that's not getting met in the partnership. It actually may be a need that the person has of themselves that they don't know how to meet. So, further dialogue can really create a lot of healing if that type of rift does show up at this full moon, Capricorn. All right. If you need some help, you know where to find me. Aquarius. This is your annual full moon, and it takes place in your own sign here. And maybe bringing up a lot of revelations about you, your personality, and in many cases, your love life and why you are where you are in love and what you would need to shift to have another experience. For many, this will be where you have a lot of revelation and insight about where and how you've grown in the last year. And since you're not the same, your love life can't be the same either. Neither can the other areas of your life. There's a lot of growth, breakthrough, and revelation you may be having about the way you were raised, your family of origin, and where you live, and how that has played a role in influencing your identity and choices in the totality of your life, and especially in love. Some of these revelations may be quite uncomfortable, Aquarius, but as you work through them one step at a time, provide yourself the forgiveness and the grace, and others as well, understanding that you all were doing the best you could as products of the time periods you were in and the influences you were under. Recognizing you can make new choices at this full moon. Your choices are not stuck. And because of this, this is going to give you an opportunity to improve your self-worth and self-esteem with Saturn moving through that sector of the sky, so that you can make choices that allow you to be and feel more complete in yourself as you reset certain boundaries in your family relationship and with yourself moving forward. Now, Aquarius, if you need some help understanding how this all works in the blueprint of your own chart, then you can absolutely book a reading with me over at kmoonastro.com. The link to do that is below this video. And we'll be able to talk through some of these changes, insights, and revelations together based on your own pathway in this lifetime. Where it comes to love, Aquarius, this full moon may come with some confusion and some misunderstandings in the love department, as there seems to be mixed messages with Mercury retrograding through your love sector conjunct the ruler of the sector itself, the sun. This in particular at this full moon seems to be the height of the confusion and misunderstandings. It's going to be important to be willing to keep lines of communication open, talk things through one step at a time, and know that more will be revealed through continued dialogue. You may feel particularly motivated to get things settled with the Mars-Jupiter sextile here from Gemini and that creative sector, and be very willing to be creative as you work through potential solutions. I also see for you, your sense of urgency about getting things resolved may be much higher than other people's sense of urgency when it comes to what needs to be spoken about and how you need to talk through it. This may continue until Mercury goes direct and completes its shadow period in September. So one of the best things you can do is recognize that everyone's process is not going to be your process. But if you can stay with it, all processes will create clarity in time. Now, for those of you looking for new love or dating, again, some level of mixed messages or lack of clarity does seem to unfold with this full moon. Seems like there could be some actions not aligning with words. It will be very important to not get discouraged or write people off but rather use the opportunity to get clarity or give clarity as you go, especially because this is an important part of the process of building that solid sense of self-worth and self-esteem that Saturn is indicating here in that sector of the sky. Learning to speak up when you need something and learning to speak up when you know something or don't know something will go a long way in improving your perspective on yourself and knowing that even if other people may not be ready, you gave it all you could to work through challenges, and you can feel good about that. Okay. Pisces, let's take a look at this for you. This full moon takes place in a sector of the sky that has to do with your intuition and your subconscious mind. Now, there may be some uncomfortable truths that surface and take you by surprise with a Uranus square from the sector of your chart that deals with the conscious mind. You may receive some news or revelations that intuitively you suspected or knew all along, either from yourself or from someone close to you. This news may give you a sense of concern or alarm at first because it does seem to be an inconvenient truth about some significant relationship. It also seems to change your beliefs and perspectives, which were already transforming, but this seems to accelerate and solidify some new perspectives and help you release old ones. The key here is to not let whatever comes up at this time solidify limiting beliefs about yourself, others, or the way the world works. Where there is disappointing news that shows up in particular, it will serve you to have the necessary conversations about what's happening, why it's happening, and what you need without making meaning that undermines present or future possibilities and potential for growth. Leaving an open door for discussions will ensure that you and others can find your way to the same page as Mercury retrograde progresses. I would assume good intent with every interaction you have, but definitely ask the necessary questions that you need to ask in order to get the clarity you need for the direction of your life. Now, if you need any support with managing some unexpected information based on the guidance in your chart, the thing to do is book a reading. Link is below this video. I'm over at kmoonastro.com. 30 minutes might be all you need to talk through this full moon and the Mercury retrograde. Where it comes to love, Pisces, this full moon sees the governor of your love sector, Mercury, moving retrograde in the sector that deals with your day-to-day living opposite this full moon. This is going to be big. There are a lot of things you may learn about yourself or a potential partner pertaining to how you deal with communication challenges at this time. You may also get some surprising news that impacts the direction of a potential or current romantic partnership as well. It could even, I would say, be as simple as you didn't know your partner or prospective partner reacted to certain things the way they do, and it changes your perspective on the viability of the connection. Or it could be that you find out news about the past or things that will impact their availability to be in connection with you at this time. Some of this, for some of you, is going to have to do with family, getting some shocking news from the family sector, like an elder parent needing care or needing to go away to assist a family member all of a sudden. It could be that simple. It could also be something far more complex, having to do with a person's role in their family and needing to unpack some potentially different ways together of managing that role so that the relationship has greater stability and viability. Now, if you're looking for love, this full moon may see you meeting people who aren't exactly available yet. Could also see you meeting people who aren't your usual type or who have mixed availability depending upon things that they're working out with others in their life or in work, home or family sectors. All in all, Pisces, this is a great full moon for reflection and to use the energy to explore what you want to experience next in love and what it's going to take to get there. Keep those lines of communication open. All right. Beautiful full moon for all signs. You know where to find me if you need any support. Thank you so much for every like, share, and subscribe. You have no idea how much that informs the algorithm that people actually enjoy this content. Even just sharing something below in the comments, as simple as an emoji to let me know how this is impacting you, also really helps the content circulate. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you at the next new moon. Bye for now.